Hi there, I'm Michael Bonner, and this is part 3 of my series about posture for guitarists based on information I've found during my PhD research.
Poor posture comes in many unattractive styles, but good posture has only one appearance.
There are many possible variations on bad posture, and before I talk about how to stand well, I'm going to outline the top 4 standing mistakes that I see frequently. After you've seen this video, you'll notice them as well. Let me know in the comments section below how many you see this week.
Bringing up the rear at number 4, we have rounded shoulders.
When the shoulders collapse forwards, the discs at the base of the neck are crushed mercilessly. The centre of gravity has shifted forwards ever so slightly, the curve of the upper back has increased, and the chest is restricted.
In third place is anterior pelvic tilt.
This might be caused by underlying muscle imbalances, muscle tightness or muscle shortness. How these occur was covered in the first video. Sometimes women do it voluntarily to make their booty look bigger, but it also makes them look pregnant by pushing the belly forwards. The back of the discs in the lumbar spine are squashed, while the ligaments at the front of the lower spine are stretched, as are the abs, and the gut organs are slumped into the front of the abdominal cavity.
Number 2 is sway back posture.
The rib cage is shifted back and the hips are thrust forward to compensate for the shifted centre of gravity, increasing tension in the abs to stop them from falling over backwards.
Topping this list at number 1 is this season's hottest posture mistake. Forward head.
The ears are in front of the shoulders and the neck muscles have to work very hard to fight gravity. This can actually lead to balance problems and loss of mobility in older age. The myofascial tissues on the back of the neck will thicken to take the load off the muscles. Meanwhile, the constantly shortened tissues on the front of the neck will get shorter, making it harder to put the head in the right position. This is most commonly seen when people's eyes are glued to their phone or when guitarists are trying to see the fretboard. In most of these cases, pressure is concentrated on either the front or the back of the intervertebral disc instead of evenly distributed. This pushes force across to the unloaded side, increasing the chances of hernias as you get older. What you need to remember is that using elements of these postures during anything you do regularly, whether it's playing an instrument or using a computer, will help to make them a habit so you adopt them at other times as well. Muscles have to work harder to maintain these positions, and soon they get fatigued, possibly overworking and eventually damaging the muscles, even forcing the body to make long-term changes to make this position easier to hold, as discussed in part 1 of this series. If you've become stuck in one of these postures, it feels totally natural to you, and adopting a better position might even seem like hard work, but it'll be worth it in the end when you feel better overall, and you look more confident and in control. Now we'll look at the guidelines for standing, which are pretty much the same as sitting, with some additions. Your weight should be evenly distributed between both feet, since when you shift your weight to one side you drop one hip, and this puts a kink in the spine and takes the weight away from its axis. The same thing happens when you sit with one leg crossed over the other. Your weight should be going through the heels of your feet, and the balls of your feet should be used for balance. When you stand with the weight near the front of your feet, you shift your centre of gravity forwards, and all the muscles on the back of your body have to tense to keep you off the floor. Your legs, like the rest of you, shouldn't be stiff. Let's do some awareness exercises to learn how to stand well. By now you should be adept at balancing your spine when sitting, but you may want to re-watch the end of my previous video as a refresher. What we're going to do here is similar. Stand with your feet a comfortable distance apart, about hip width. Let your feet spread out by ensuring you aren't squeezing them or flexing the toes. Keep your legs straight, but don't lock the knees. Keep them loose. Check that your hips are level by tilting them fully back, then fully forwards, then gradually finding a comfortable middle position. Check that your spine is balanced. Think of your head going slightly forward and up, and your back lengthening and widening. Now pay attention to your feet. Rock backwards slightly onto your heels so that the balls of your feet just start to lift, and feel how the tension increases on certain parts down the front of your body. As you rock forwards from the ankles, keeping your spine in its neutral position, feel the tension dissipate on the front and increase down the back of your body, and then decrease as you return to upright. Repeat these movements with decreasing size until you find your balance point, with the weight going through your heels and the front of your feet stabilising you. After checking your feet, hips and spine, slowly shift your weight from one foot to the other, taking care to make sure you don't drop one hip. Feel the pressure change in your feet and hips. Repeat these shifts with decreasing size until you find your central balance point. Now, I don't know if anybody actually stands with their weight evenly distributed between both feet all the time, but spending time on one leg needn't be bad. After all, we do it briefly when walking, and it can help us to stay mobile when standing for a long time, preventing our legs and back from becoming stiff struts. But you need to ensure you do it well by following these 2 tips. Spend roughly equal amounts of time on each leg. When we walk, we tend to use both feet the same amount. Keep your hips level. Our hips naturally rotate and tilt. What we tend not to do is drop one hip completely with each step, because that looks, well, this crushes the discs on one side of your spine, so make sure your hips stay roughly level. So remember, everything balances instead of being kept in place with tension. Symmetry is beauty. Keep mobile and relaxed. For homework, I'd like you all to consider your posture and movements throughout your normal day-to-day activities and compare it to what I've told you so far. In the next video, I'll be examining the guitarist's footstool and its effects on the body.